Alright. Cozy. Hi, I'm Scott. Topic of today's video is Dungeons and Dragons related. Now, I'm not going to go deep into the mechanics of the game or anything, but I am going to talk in depth about the game and things that happen in the game and things that specifically have happened in the game that I run for my friends. Drawing maps is fun. Look at this. Look at that. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that crosshatch. Oof. Look at that. Pit of spikes. One of our characters fell into that. That was fun. The same character who got his hand mauled by a dinosaur, and then later in the same session punched a suit of armour and broke that hand, which was... Just thinking about it makes me laugh. His hand was like so fucked up towards the end. And the same guy fell in that pit of spikes. It was quite funny. Yeah, drawing maps is a lot of fun. So, in the game that I run for my friends, the setting is a world called Ixalan, and for those familiar with my other love in life, Magic the Gathering, that's a world of Magic's creation. It's very much based on the tropes of the search for the lost city of El Dorado. It's an adventure world, it's got pirates, it's got dinosaurs, it's got merfolk, it's got these vampires who are like designed to be like Spanish conquistadors, and it's one of the coolest designs of like pirates and undead that I've ever seen. I just love it. This is what they look like right here. Right here? No, right here. That's them. They're fucking so cool. And that's the world my players live in. They play a bunch of pirates in the Brazen Coalition, and they're on the hunt for the lost city of Arazka, a city rumoured to be made of gold. I'm just going to share a few moments in the campaign that I thought were amazing. So, the very first thing that happened in the campaign, the players had been out sailing, pirating, doing pirate things, and they docked up their ship in a little town called High and Dry. It's a little pirate settlement in the northeast of Ixalan. And as the ship pulled in, they were instantly confronted by a brutish large orc pirate who ran up to them and went, "You can't stop there!" And I think I think this caught my players off guard. A lot of them had done no role playing, and right off the bat, I just like ran them into an encounter with a person where I was doing a voice and I was playing a character, and they just didn't really know what to do. But they got their way through it. Captain Locke, the captain of my player's ship, who's also an orc, decided to try and threaten the guy, but it didn't really work out too well. The dice didn't go in his favour. However, we have a little old goblin lady in the party. She pulled out her daggers and decided to threaten the orc as well, at which point he pissed his pants, literally, and ran off screaming. Later in that same session, Locke wanted to go to the fighting arena. It's like a pit where you bare hand brawl. And who was he paired up against? None other than the very same orc he had embarrassed just hours ago. Ooh, drama, don't you love it? This orc was out for revenge, out for blood, ready to sacrifice himself to regain his honour. He snuck a dagger into the fight and tried to kill Locke. Locke took the blade to the side, but managed, through sheer strength and force of will, lifted up this orc and chokeslammed him into the ground. It was amazing. It was cinematic. It was exciting. It was just so much fun. And that thereabouts, some other stuff happened, brought us to the end of the very first session of D&D that I'd ever ran. Now, for those interested in actually running a game, I'm going to talk now about some mistakes that I made in that session. Right off the bat, I gave the players a very hard role-playing encounter. This was a mistake. The players were still learning who their characters were. Yeah, they'd written backstories and they'd done all the bits on the paper and put all the numbers down and had an idea of what kind of person they're like, but they didn't really know who they were. And it was too soon for me to shove this encounter into their face. And I got lucky, if I'm honest, that the players responded well to it, but I do think it was a misstep. Another mistake I made, and this was more down to my own inexperience as a DM, but that was inconsistencies in rules. D&D 5th edition encourages you to make rulings on the fly, not to interrupt the flow of the game unless everyone at the table has fun flipping through the rulebooks and getting exactly the right thing. But it encourages you as the dungeon master to keep the game running and keep things moving and just be like, okay, that's what this is, but let's move on. You make a note of it and you look it up later. So where I went wrong was I had two separate combat encounters in this session. I had the first one, which was the two orcs in the fighting pit, And the second one, which is when the party were chasing down some hooded assailants and cornered them in the street. I ran those two encounters differently, and it wasn't for any good purpose. The combat in the arena, I ran through a series of strength checks, essentially. Captain Locke would tell me what he'd want to do, I'd get him to roll a dice, make a check, and I would also make a check for my guy. And then kind of from there, we had a bit of a back and forth, and it worked. It did work. If it was a little uninventive, it was fun to narrate. But later in the combat, I described to the players what they were seeing as they followed these assailants around the corner. And then I got them to properly do combat, where you do what's called rolling initiative, which is you determine the order of combat, you do it turn by turn, and you follow the rules properly. Where it got confusing is now these, especially new players, have experienced these two different fights. You know, this game already has a lot of depth to it, and I think the last thing you need as a dungeon master is your players being overwhelmed by what the scope of something is. What I should have done was just pick a system. I just should have been consistent. Now my players have left the table not actually having learned anything about how the game works. Every session I want players, especially new players, to take something away about the rules and mechanics and function of the game, so that next time they're going to be better prepared and they can spend less time worrying about how the game works and spend more time thinking about how to have the most fun playing it. But luckily, we still had fun, which is ultimately what's most important about D&D, is having fun. I think in this campaign we've had a lot of fun. We're about 10 sessions into it now, and the guys are really starting to take hold of their characters and understanding the lore of the world and just what they can do as a character, what abilities they have. I've done a lot to help them with that, but they're starting to now take charge of it themselves. I've been very lucky to have a party that just consistently has fun, no matter what's happening. I have to thank the guys for that, because they do a good job of making it fun for me. I might do more of these, especially about D&D, because it's like a weekly thing that I run, and every session I learn something new. So I might, depending on how this video comes together and whether or not I actually like it, because, there's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about what I've learned in this campaign. But that's for future Scott to decide. I'm not going to bother with it just now. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I have got some fucking maps to draw. Oh yeah. You like that? I do. So fucking stupid.